Okay, so I want to look at adding in maybe some scratches, some edging, etc. But I want to do this again on separate layers. Let's go ahead, since we have this one particular layer, I'm going to go ahead and name this layer. I'm just going to call this, well, for lack of a better idea, we will call it noise. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer. And this one, I'm going to look, again, we're going to keep this simple. We can go to extremes on this thing, but we want to try and keep this simple because we want to get an end result. Let's go ahead and look at adding in our bolts, where our bolts are going to be. So let's look at our alphas. Do we have anything that could work for a round bolt? Yes, right here, alpha 14. Let's go ahead and click on that. Again, if we're going to use an alpha, number one rule is if you're going to use this alpha for sculpting, chances are you're going to be doing a drag rectangle. All right. And let's go ahead and we'll leave the Z intensity right now is 25. Let's assume that's going to be good. Oh, and by the way, while we're at it, although the wells is not mirrored, the entire mesh is a mirrored model. So we do want to hit the X key. So we've got, so when I draw one bolt on, it draws the other one. See that? Oh, but you know what? That's really quiet. Let's go ahead and do this instead. Let's do a drag dot. That way I can drag it onto my screen and position it. Okay, it's a little bit big, but that's because it's based on the, if you can see, this inner circle is going to be the size of the bolt. And of course this was up to that size, and it went ahead and scaled it, plonked it on there, but of course it's now, and as you can see, it's really kind of stretched and not something we need. By the way, let's go ahead and get out of perspective while we're at it, because as we're working in perspective, and again, I think I mentioned this in the first module, if you're working in perspective, you can get distortions with some of what you're working with. Let's stick with just the orthogonal, so we have no depth value. I'm going to go ahead and use my brackets key next to the P key to scale my brush down to something like that. And let's go ahead and crank this guy up on the Z intensity. We'll just say 65-ish. All right, so let me click. Okay, comes on really nice, really hard. Let's see, maybe we'll just do one in the middle or one in the bottom. Well, we'll definitely want the one in the bottom. We're going to need one in the top too. So let me go ahead and scale that. Oop, let's go up a little bit. Up a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to click another one right here. Let's go ahead, and one of the nice things on ZBrush is that if you scale down just a little bit, just enough, most people aren't going to notice that it's two different sizes, but actually that's pretty noticeable. Let's go and do Control Z. We now have the new size, so I know exactly what we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and move this right up into a corner. Right there. And let's do the same here. Close, but not right on the edge. Just back it up a little bit. Back it up. Good. And we want one here. And we want one here. Excellent. Let's go ahead and turn this off. We don't want to record on this layer anymore. And let's go ahead and make sure we've got the layer selected. We're going to name it bolts. All right. So there we go. Let's just take a quick gander. We could do Shift R to do a render, or you can best preview render, or you can just click this button up here, BPR. Let's just take a look at what this is going like. Good. It's nice. It works. A little bit of noise in here. That's good. It's not a lot, but it's enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn these two layers off. I'm going to add a new layer. And here's where I'm going to use, I think we can use the flatten brush. Let's go ahead and click our brushes and hit F for flatten and A. So it would have been BFA, would have gotten us that brush. Let's make sure we turn off the RGB. We don't want RGB on this. We're only affecting the mesh, the modeling, etc. So we do not want color on this thing. All right. I'm also going to turn my symmetry off, X. By the way, 13 is going to be really tepid, so I'm actually going to crank this right on up. All right, and I'm going to pull this down a little bit. As you can see, Now, you see a little bit of a delayed reaction. I don't know if you do see that, but it was lagging some, and that's because I can guarantee you we have, oh, there we go. Didn't think it was. All right, so let's try this again. There we go. I'm creating some asymmetry. I want to create some dents, etc. Because this is, old or oldish. I'm going to just draw a line here, but I'm going to emphasize as I'm dragging certain points. There we go. Of course, you want to be careful with some of what you do. You don't want to, drag it all over. Just enough that it's going to create some inconsistencies, some weathering, some oldness. It's taking a battering. Again, I'm just pulling this through. I might even do some on some of this letter too. Might be kind of interesting. All right. A little more over here. I want to get some of this as well. Just little etchings. You'd be surprised how, something as simple as this can really pull some of the details out, or at least make it a little bit more believable. All right, I'm going to do a quick long drag here. And I'm kind of doing a circle thing. That's what you see me doing, because I'm emphasizing where we're going to have a little bit of extra. There we go. Something like that. Again, we get super complicated with this, but we're not going to. We're just trying to get across some of what we can do with this. Also, in fact, I think I'm going to scale this up and kind of indent right there. I'm going to do the same up in here, really kind of crinkle it, get some changes. You see how that starts to really kind of pull it out? It makes it a little more what you would expect to see. I'm going to do a little there. Let's go ahead and try a little on a letter or two, just to see. We don't want the thing to be perfect, because it would look odd. That you get weathering on some things, and then, when it comes to the lettering, they're somehow magically perfect. I don't think that would actually be the case. I'm going to hit F just to reframe. Yeah, there you go. Just a little bit of something, just to add a little flavor to it. Little wear and tear, little gouges. There we go. I'm going to do a hard one right there. I think I'll do a really hard one right in here too. There we go, something like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to go ahead and call this layer flattening, just for my own purposes. Again, you can name it whatever. I'm going to go ahead and turn on our bolts and our noise. Okay, I'm going to hit P for perspective, and then Shift R for just a quick render. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I like that. See, little variations. I mean, you don't want something to be super clean and super nice, because it's going to read as completely fake, and you don't want to do that. Of course, I could do a lot more to this. I could really dent the sides in and different things, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, so I'm okay with that. And by the way, I like to turn off the layers when I'm adding a new layer, because I like to not be distracted by everything that's already there. I'm going to go ahead and just turn off the layers and create another new layer. And in this case, I'm going to look to add in some scratches, etc. Now, a number of different ways we could do this. We could hit the D and go to dam standard, and that could actually create, you know, some really nice lines all the way across. I could gouge it a little bit, you know, in some areas, you know, makes an indent like that, you know, really kind of knock it in there. I don't want to do that. I could go for the S, which is a slash brush. Let's go ahead and grab /3. By the way, again, explore all the brushes. You'd be amazed at some of the ones you're going to find. It's really phenomenal. Oop, that's really, really hard. Okay, let's go ahead and change. Oh, and we have an RGB on that. Let's make sure we turn that off. I'm going to turn this Z intensity down and something more like that. No, I don't like that either, but that's okay. We can go to our standard brush. Let's grab a drag rectangle. Well, we'll leave it freehand at first. Let's go ahead and grab this, alpha 58. It's just these scratchy lines. Let's go ahead and make sure we're in the Z sub. And let's see what it's like if I just add in. Oops, that's obviously a bit much. That's a bit much. Let's try drag rectangle. I'm going to turn down the Z intensity. So let's see what we can get. All right. Let's do something like this. I'm going to do a really big one over here. Okay. Now, you may think, oh, God, that does not look good. Oh, that's okay. It's okay. We're not done with it yet. Oops, Control Z. I'm going to scale this in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off. And I'm going to go ahead and name it. I'm going to call it Scratches. And again, the beauty of it is I can now pull that down a little bit in my layers. So they're a little more subtle. They're still there. But I can now add that in, and you see how we're getting a really nice blend. We're blending several different things to get a really nice flavoring for this, all right? Maybe pull that down a little bit more. Something like that. Well, I don't want to completely erase it. Let's go ahead and do this back up a bit. Just a little more. There we go. Something like that. All right. Let's do a quick BPR. Always look at the model, see how it's looking. Oh, that looks nice. Let's do one from back here. I want to see how well this is going to read. Oh, I can read it. That's great. All right. And by the way, it's been we've got enough changes to this. I'm going to go ahead and save this up as our next model. Make sure you save yours as well.